Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kelssweetie, where we read books and we make art. And during a certain time of year, we start Halloween decor hunting. Today, we are taking a trip to MIDSUMMER SCREAM. Actually, it was yesterday, but we're filming today. Y'all know how movie magic works. I had a great time at my second year of MIDSUMMER SCREAM. I know that some of y'all were out there this year. I never can run into anybody. I always find out after the fact that somebody's out there or was out on the floor, anything like that. When I go into MIDSUMMER SCREAM, I am a girl with a mission, and I'm a little overwhelmed by how much Halloween and horror and the cosplays that are amazing and the art that's out there and the people and all of that. And it's a lot. If you were out there, I hope that you had an amazing time this weekend. I know that I did for my second year. Next year, I think that I may end up doing more of like the classes and stuff. I don't know, because I feel like this year I've done the floor and all of the vendors and stuff, and I have thoughts. So we're gonna leave that till the end, along with a haul of what I found this year. Can't wait to share it with y'all. Let's get into my vlog of my Saturday up at MIDSUMMER SCREAM, along with some fun, spooky things that I did around the Long Beach area. as you saw, I had an amazing time at Midsummer Scream this year. It really is my favorite time of the year, and I think that it's my unofficial slowdown of the Halloween hunting season. I know that that sounds crazy because it's the biggest Halloween convention of the year, but I start my Halloween shopping and hunting sometime around May, and that's really kicked off by the spooky swap meet that they have in Heritage Square here in LA. And then after that, I've been basically hunting for 3 or 4 months at that point. And by August, we're basically getting ready for me to start putting up my Halloween decor. As y'all know, I keep it up only 2 months. One, because my partner is into Christmas. He has to also have his time, and that's 2 months all of its own. But also for like my big Halloween decor, because of course I keep some of it out just to have little bits of sunshine every day throughout the year. But my big Halloween decor I save because I kind of want to keep it special. I don't want it to just feel like, oh, that's just decor. You know, I know that some of y'all don't get that, and that's completely fine. I get the idea of Halloween, having Halloween up 24/7 because it's still a serotonin boost no matter what. That's why I have little bits of it throughout the year scattered throughout my bookshelves and my office and stuff like that. But for me, having it, taking that out, coming up with these themes and everything every single year and only having it up for 2 months a year and kind of feeling like, oh, it's that special time. Like this is something just for me that's really special and out of the ordinary. Really, I love it. I know that it's kind of split in the Halloween community on whether or not keeping it up all year or putting it away and then putting it back up. I know some people who even have it up all year and then around Halloween season, that's when they switch it up or they put their huge pieces out. So let me know down in the comments who you're kind of like as far as your Halloween decor. But here are my thoughts. So now it's my second year. Some of the newness is worn off just a little bit about Midsummer Scream, so I can go in with a kind of a bit of a fresher mind. As I mentioned in the beginning, I seem to never run into anybody that I know. I have a ton of these parasocial relationships here online with tons of y'all who are into Halloween, and some of my favorite creators and stuff, of course, go to Midsummer. I see tons of people, but I never see anybody that I know. I usually go with my cousin who's down to do any new experience, which I love her for. We love it. We love it absolutely. I don't really have a lot of in real life Halloween friends. So she's fantastic because she's like, no, I'm down to go because I love seeing everything. And she's into stuff, just not hardcore. I just never run into anybody. I don't go to the party that they have on Saturday either. And I feel like if I went to some of the classes and the workshops and stuff like that along with the party, I would have a better chance of running into those people. And I only go on Saturday. I don't go for the full weekend. And I think that there's a possibility, maybe, who knows, next year I may try and go for the full weekend, and that way I can feel less like it's a mission to cover the entire vendor floor, because that vendor floor took us 4 hours to get through, top to bottom. And it wasn't even that I was really hitting every single vendor, because we went in there with a plan. It was like, no prints, because we have no more room for prints on these walls, no more shirts unless it blows you away, because I have far too many shirts at this point. And we really gravitated to a lot of the very special things, or the creators or handmade things and crafts and artists, rather than things that felt like they were like the NECA figures. There are tons of NECA figures. And as somebody who collects that stuff year round and has their like action figure collectibles and NECA figures out all year, I already know that there's a bit of an upcharge on those things because I know the market. And unless it's super special and I've not seen it or it's vintage, I'm not really gravitating towards it. Something that I noticed this year, I don't know if it was just this year or that I've just been much further into the Halloween horror community this year than, my first year going. I felt like a lot of the vendors were out of touch on what they were displaying. Let me go further. I just noticed that the big four were out there. You had Freddy, you had Jason, you had Michael, and you had Ghostface, which there was an uptick in Ghostface things out there because Matthew Lillard was doing meet and greets this year, which my heart I just can't afford it. I just could not afford it, but I really did want to go see him because those to meet and greet, it is so like you have to add that onto your ticket, and we're talking about at least $100 extra. And to see Matthew Lillard, I think it was like two something, which believe me, it's worth it. I hope that one day I can see Matthew Lillard. He really does like go the con circuit, so I'm hoping that one year I'll finally just like pull the trigger and do it. But I think that there was an uptick in Ghostface and Scream memorabilia because of him doing a lot of doing a meet and greet this year. There was also a lot of Terrifier merch because Art the Clown was there. Other than that, there was also a lot of Elvira because Elvira was there. But other than that, I did not see any new Halloween or horror franchises out there. Sinners was one of the biggest horror movies so far this year. And while you guys saw that amazing outfit that somebody cosplayed as Remick, I mean, that was just amazing. I was sad to see that there weren't so many other cosplays as Sinners, considering how huge that movie was. But aside from that, I was really surprised to see there was no Sinners merch at all. None. I did not see any artwork that was Sinners related. I did not see any t-shirts that were Sinner related because in all honesty, that would have been t-shirts that I would have bought for sure because I want more Sinners t-shirts. I did not see any of that. I just didn't see any Sinners. And aside from even Sinners, and while I know that Weapons this is only the second weekend that Weapons has been out, and I know that everybody's been talking about it, I did see somebody cosplayed as, I haven't seen Weapons yet. I won't go into detail as to why I haven't seen it yet, even though everybody in the world's been talking about it. But I did not see anything substance related. Like, I know that Weapons it's just come out. So nobody was going to have anything around that whatsoever. And I don't know really much about the movie to think that there could be real merch around it. But there was nothing from the substance. The substance last year was all the talk last year. Nothing in regards to substance whatsoever. I saw nothing out there about that. It was weird. There was no representation whatsoever for new horror films. And me and my cousin were talking about it. We were like, that's strange to me. And it also is very concerning for me personally because it felt like you guys might be out of touch with the actual horror community. That's weird to say considering Midsummer is the mecca of Halloween and horror, right? And it's not to say that there weren't amazing things out there. There was tons of Halloween things. Even with the Halloween, though, it was a lot of new Halloween merchandise, not vintage merchandise. And I was there for the vintage merchandise, and I did not see hardly any vintage merchandise, except for your usual suspects. Velvet Apparition being one of them, which I've kind of talked on here before during my Spooky Swap Meet video and in other places where I love the things that Velvet Apparition collects and what they provide. It's amazing, but they really, really upcharge the things that they're providing, y'all. Their Ben Cooper masks are $135 when I've multiple times on this channel talked about my Ben Cooper mask and how I've gotten things on eBay for a lot. I've shown on my Halloween hunting for eBay video, from eBay video, that you can get lots of 5 masks, and yes, they may be Lucy's, but tons of them for $40, $50. And it's a lot of 5 or 4 or even 3 of them. And even if you want a box, I got my Spider-Man for $20, and it normally is anywhere from $30 to $40. To pay $135 for a Ben Cooper mask or a Collegeville mask in a box seems outrageous. And they weren't the only ones out there doing that. There was another vintage shop that's not coming to mind at the current moment, but people are just really upcharging their vintage, and it's sad to see. I think there's a lot of conversation that's been happening around that, as well as even thrift stores seeming like they have less Halloween out, and realizing it may be because either people are hoarding their Halloween, they're trying to make a profit on it on eBay if they are selling it, or sellers are just going in there and grabbing up all of the good stuff and leaving and reselling it at conventions like these. I get the idea of reselling if you're a collector and you're trying to make space in your collection for these things, but I also don't understand an extreme upcharge. I understand making a profit, but at some point you have to look at the fact that, like, you're just upcharging the upcharge. It's not even a profit at this point when you're charging 3 times the amount that it actually goes for. That's just disappointing to see. And I did buy some things from one of the other vintage sellers in there, and I'll get to that in my haul in just a moment. But I wanted to kind of take a moment to talk about that because that is a concern in the Halloween market right now and the Halloween community is that there's a lot of people who don't have huge budgets for this, and they can't even get it at thrift stores anymore. They can't even enjoy the Halloween decor. And never mind people who aren't in the Halloween decor community or the Halloween community as a whole, there are families out there who need these things so that they can keep Halloween alive. And I think we're starting to lose that idea that these big box stores are charging arm and a leg for these items because they know the Halloween community is going to collect them and buy them and sell them out and make them viral. Resellers are buying them out of the thrift stores like crazy and reselling them at a high value. Where does the normal person who has a family or who just wants to simply celebrate Halloween when October comes around come into the equation? And this is where that complaint that we've had before in the community comes along, where Halloween Day comes along and there's no trick-or-treaters anymore, or we drive around our neighborhoods and there's no decorations up or anything, and we're wondering, where is Halloween? What happened to trick-or-treating? What happened to us as a, larger community or society celebrating this holiday? And this is where it is. It's because of, the big ugly capitalism. It's just upsetting and sad to see the darker parts of it that may be affecting some of those who are outside of the community and are really the reason why when the Halloween season comes around, we feel surrounded by it outside of our houses. And it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation where we're part of the problem if we're taking that stuff out of the shelves so that other people out there can't get a chance, normies out there can't get a chance to try and decorate for themselves, so that we aren't sitting here and having to surround ourselves with Halloween in order to get that serotonin. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it is kind of sad, and it was kind of upsetting to kind of walk around, not see that many vintage Halloween sellers in the first place. And the ones that I did see, which again, I think were like 3 or 4 sellers, only had things that were upcharged, except for the one that I will show you. I was very, very happy to see that they had some very affordable prices for their vintage goods. They weren't necessarily all Halloween, but they were very, very reasonably priced, and I loved seeing that, and I appreciate that entirely. And to only see a lot of resold collector goods, I don't know. I think that was kind of disappointing, and to also not see any love for our newer Halloween horror movies. I love a Scream. Y'all know I love Ghostface. But there's only so much merch that you can buy before you just kind of have a shrine to Scream. And I want something that has, yes, plenty of Ghostface memorabilia, but also looks at tons of the horror that is coming out now, because horror is in an uptrend right now. And it's amazing to see, but we're not seeing it in our community. We're not seeing it reflected in the things that our community is making at whole. So those were my thoughts. I think next year I may look into maybe doing a full weekend and exploring more of the classes and the workshops and the presentations and panels up there, because I know that they are really great. I just never get to them because I only buy a day ticket. And by the time I've walked that entire floor, my feet are hurting and I'm exhausted. And I think if I had a 3-day pass, I could feel like I could move through it. I feel like I could go upstairs to the workshops. I could go to some of the shows, maybe even go to the party so I can actually meet some of the people that I meet online out here and just have a slower weekend instead of, okay, go, go, go as soon as I hit the floor. So those were my thoughts. Let's get in the haul. I know that was a lot and y'all are looking forward to the haul. So I'm gonna save my biggest amazing purchases for the very end. I know. But I love absolutely everything that I got this year. I think that I was far more conscientious walking into Midsummer this year as opposed to other years when I've bought things in there. And that had to do a lot with the fact that I went in there with a plan and because I'm dwindling down on my hunting. Last year I still bought tons of things that I loved and that I decorate with, and that there were plenty of things out there that I thought, oh, that's cool. But I've really gotten into the idea that if I love something but I can't place it, whether in my everyday decor or my Halloween themes that year, then I cannot buy it. And the reason why is simply there will always be more Halloween decor that I love, that I want to buy, but the budget just will not allow for that, first and foremost. But secondly, it's also because I have no room. That's how you find yourself sitting there and then hauling things because you're just like, oh, I bought that 3 years ago and I loved it at the moment, but I never found out a place to put it. So I really do love everything that I bought this year, even though it's a smaller haul. It is one that I'm proud of. So starting off with some things though that were a little basic. This was from Fabulous Frights. They were really amazing, and please note that I'll be linking down below all of the stores that I got my things from this year. They were one of the vintage stores that I was talking about that had extremely reasonable prices with their goods. Now, they had VHS, they had a couple of Funkos here and there, but really their big thing is Gothic decor. So they have brass candlesticks, but they're not charging $50 for a pair or even $20 for a pair. They're charging $12 for a pair, $10 for a pair, $5 for maybe a singular one, which, yes, it is an upcharge because they probably thrifted it, but I have seen candlesticks go for $10, $15, $20 for ornate brass candlesticks that were obviously thrifted from the thrift store. So I still appreciate in a big convention like that to still see single-digit numbers on some vintage goods. I did buy both of these vintage little glass bottles for $5 a piece. This one was perfect for this Frankenstein idea that I have for my Gothic decor this year that's going on in my living room. I'm trying to get a lot of beaker-looking type of bottles. It's got a ton of patina on this little cap here, and it was $5, which I was fine with. I was looking for a lot of Gothic vintage decor for my Gothic section actually while I went to MIDSUMMER, and unfortunately I didn't find a lot of that either. It's really strange. I feel like we walked that entire floor, but it was just a lot of collectibles out there this year. And this as well is just like a little simple bottle. It was $5. The reason why I got it, and you'll see in just a moment why I'm kind of like, it's fine that I got it, but I originally got it because I've been looking for a vintage holy water bottle for my Gothic area for vampires. Now, I'm trying not to have too much religious iconography because I am spiritual in many different ways, and I don't really want to kind of make a mockery or keep those things around me personally. I'm just not into that type of Gothic decor, and I didn't want to get too far in the weeds with that stuff because I know, of course, Dracula crosses and all of that, but I thought like a little holy water vial would be fine. I couldn't find one that was for a price that I'm okay with spending, even on eBay. And then my cousin told me, well, you have a Cricut, why don't you just craft one? Like, get yourself a vintage bottle or something that's just an old bottle, and then paint the usual vintage insignia of the holy water on the bottle. That was an amazing idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That is why I bought this bottle. Now, when we went to the Long Beach antique market that's further down the street, afterwards, I found a better bottle for cheaper. And now this is probably just going to go in my Gothic decor area, or it's going to go in my Madame Leota's type of space or something along those lines. I'm not mad that I necessarily got this because it will go somewhere, but now it doesn't serve the purpose that I bought it for, and I probably wouldn't have bought this specifically had I known in foresight, you know? So regardless, I was happy with the little glass bottles that I did get. And again, it took everything for me to not buy up a ton of their brass candlesticks because they were good looking and they were a good price. Quickly, this is not from MIDSUMMER, but I already spoke about it, and so I wanted to kind of share it with y'all. It was this bottle. This is the one I was talking about where I was saying that it was just a better looking bottle that looked more like a holy water bottle in this like square shape with this these lines on it that's very art deco and really looks like what I was kind of looking for in regards to a holy water bottle. So this worked better. It was $4 and I ended up just buying this, and I'll probably do the craft on this for my Gothic Tales area. The next item that I got was one that is by an artist, and I know that I just said, like, I have tons of ghost face decor and all of that, but this, honestly, I loved. I have some video in the B-roll in the vlog about seeing her work and how fun it was and cute, but also just a different way that I had never seen people address the original, like, you know, the new school classic horror monsters or killers or slashers. And I loved how they looked, and I had to pick up her ghost face keychain. So this was from Suki Co Socials. She was a sweetheart. I absolutely loved speaking to her. But I have to show you this amazing. So you have this cute little beaded bit on the right there, and then you have this wonderful ghost face image, and he's so cute. He's sitting there in his recliner chair, and he has his little phone and all of that, and I think that's a lot of fun. And because of movies, he has the popcorn bucket. So one, this is really, really good quality acrylic keychain. I don't know where she got hers done, but I'm like, I needed to ask because I want to do some keychains like this now. But these are really cute, and to have the little dagger and everything on the side, I think is adorable. I have it on my purse now 24/7, and I'm gonna put it right back there next to my my little ghost face Labubu. The next item that I got, I became huge fans of this company from the Spooky Swap Meet this year. I got their coffee from on a whim, and it ended up being my favorite coffee. I am now like hooked on it, and I just can't go back to just doing just the Trader Joe's stuff. And like every now and then, but this is the special stuff, and that is Coffin Coffee Co. I really love their vanilla hazelnut flavored coffee. So, one, it smells like fall. Like, it's that vanilla hazelnut smell that I associate fall coffee with. And the thing is that's about this, I know that Trader Joe's sells a vanilla hazelnut fall blend. That's how I got on vanilla hazelnut coffee. However, after drinking that all season, because it's basically all I drink all season, aside from my normal just black coffee, it starts to get a little syrupy. I think that Trader Joe's does a roasting on their beans, and then they kind of soak them in a vanilla hazelnut. I'm not sure if if Coffin Co. does the same, but these, one, taste a lot smoother somehow. It's less acidic. It may be the beans that they're using instead of their process that they're doing the vanilla hazelnut in, and it doesn't taste artificial or syrupy. It really, you enjoy the entire drink, and it doesn't feel like, ugh, I don't think I could do another one of those for another week type of thing, which I found has happened for me with Trader Joe's drinks. Now, when I got one bag of this in May, I drank it basically nonstop until it was out. And I never got sick of it. I never felt it was too sweet. None of that. So when I knew that they were going to be at Midsummer, instead of ordering it online and paying for shipping, I ended up picking up 2 bags of it. Is this going to last me the entire Halloween season? No, I already know that for a fact. I'm somebody who averages a bag of coffee beans every 2 weeks. This is going to get me close, but it's not going to last me all season. However, the first cup will be brewed as I start Halloween decor. I want to brew a cup once I start Halloween crafting, to be honest. That may happen. So that'll be next weekend. But it is, once I start opening this up, that's it. We're doing it. It's gonna be then until I run out, and then I guess I'll then go to Trader Joe's and we'll do Trader Joe's. But until then, it is this coffee company. I swear by it. I cannot tell y'all enough to check it out if you're into vanilla hazelnut or you're into any other type of Halloween flavors. It's also really great because this company donates proceeds to bat conservation, and I think that that's really great, and it's amazing, and this looks really great if you have a coffee bar. Another vintage item that isn't necessarily Halloween specific, but it will be going in my Halloween space for my VHS rental store, and that is the Star Wars cassette. I got it for $5 up at the Vintage Long Beach Antique store that we went to after Midsummer, but it was $5, and I know that y'all may be going, that's not Halloween. I get it. I understand it entirely. It is, however, kind of sci-fi, Star Wars, Halloween doesn't seem like a jump in regards to like costumes and people watching Star Wars around that time and sci-fi and whatever. But the bigger thing is that this VHS rental store area will be up all year. It will just change season to season. And now that I have a TV to play these on, I really do care about what I'm getting. And I know that my partner is like, you're crazy. However, Attack of the Clones is my favorite Star Wars film. And he constantly tells me, no one ever says that. Ever. And to that I say, do they not love romance? Padme and Anakin's romance in Attack of the Clones is smut-worthy. I love it. I love it so much, and I know that somebody is just like, that doesn't make sense at all. But I don't care. I truly don't care. And so when I saw this, I had to pick it up. I was so happy to find a copy. I will explain nothing further. We are starting to get really close, but these are to the end, but these are my favorite things that I picked up at Midsummer this year. First and foremost was this wonderful, beautiful piece of art. So when I first walked in, we decided this year to work from the back to the front as far as the vendor floor is concerned. Last year, we, went traditionally from the front to the back. And what we found is that in the back of Midsummer, and this is for anybody who may be going next year for the first time or whenever, they put a lot of the small businesses in the back. A lot of the creators, the artists, and everything are in the back, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like that they do that. I wish that they would scatter them throughout, but we noticed that they're in the back. And last year, we'd blown our budgets by the time we got to the back, and we were really upset because we found a lot of great stuff there. So we decided this year, no, we're going to work from the back to the front. First place that we went to was this wonderful vendor. Their name was Dirt and Glue Mosaics, and it's run by Karen Bobot. They are absolutely amazing. I will link them down below. Their work, fantastic. If I had the funds, the things that I would have bought in that booth. However, I did splurge a bit and buy this. I love this. Their process is that they thrift plates and all of that, and they also slip cast a lot of these smaller items like the stars or this UFO in this case, or even this little take me to your leader portion. She then takes these bits and pieces and creates, of course, a mosaic out of them, along with these little little pieces that she then pushes into to create these scenes. She had so many amazing pieces. I showed a ton of video of what she had offered in her booth as well in the vlog footage, but I was going back and forth on a lot of different things. I'm going to have this up all year, and it felt the best, and I love that she took this from one of those bicentennial plates that we always see at the thrift store and nobody wants them, and gave it a brand new life, and it felt so very on point for my type of decor that's up all year. I really love this. I love that it was an alien. I love this little gold bit with the gold foil right here. It was just amazing. And even like how she framed it out. And if you see even on this side, it's like an oil slick blue. I was in love with it. I was absolutely in love with it. I thought that this was too cute, and I can't wait to put this into my gallery. I'm going to be moving around a lot of things in my house, and I want to redo my gallery walls, and this is definitely going to be in there. So happy I picked this up. It was the first purchase of the day. My last items that I will be showing today. Actually, I think it might have been the last item that I bought at Midsummer, actually. We walked by the Revenge of booth, which if you did not know, I've talked about them on the channel before when I did my Lotzilla vlog, but they are a comic book and pinball machine arcade shop. It's amazing. They're out in Eagle Rock here in LA. And they do a Lotzilla event basically every month or so where they have vendors come out, and they have a tattoo shop next door. And that's where I got a tattoo recently. And they have the pinball machines up, and they have a bookstore that they just opened up in cafe, and comic books and collectibles. And they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. We walked by their booth. I wasn't really looking too much into theirs because I need to finish some of the books that I have. And I was like, oh, I can't pick up anymore. Rodney Barnes was sitting at doing signings, and I was blown away that there was hardly any line for him. Unfortunately, if you don't know who Rodney Barnes is, many of you may not, unfortunately, he's a big personality and writer within the Black horror community, but within the Black community period. He was one of the writers and producers for, this is not the horror side of things, but Boondocks, which you may, if you were alive during the 2000s and on Adult Swim whatsoever, the Boondocks may sound familiar to you. My Wife and Kids, there's plenty of other shows and films. But in the horror community, he is known for writing the amazing comic book, Philadelphia. And recently, he has written and started the Nia Hawk's Nightmare blog. So I haven't read this one yet, and I've only gotten through a couple of the comics for Philadelphia. If you at all have been looking for any Black horror comic books or graphic novels, you've probably heard of Philadelphia or seen this cover. It is about the they're vampires in Philadelphia, but it's for an uprising, and they are the descendants of John Adams, like slaves, and it takes place in present day, and it's a lot in it. It's a lot in it, but it's amazing ride and so much fun. And I had the amazing opportunity to have him sign both of these issues. I do want to start Nightmare Blog. I haven't started it just yet, but I have been meaning to because it has a Black woman main character, but I hadn't gotten to it yet, and I thought, okay, well, this is the best reason for me to pick this up, and I had to get him to sign this issue of Philadelphia. If I would have known he would have been there, I would have brought my own issue. But I'm so excited, and I'm probably going to get this one framed, considering that it is on the front of the issue, and it would be fantastic near all of my book stuff, and it's just a great representation of just Black horror, and he was just the nicest person in the world. You might have seen in my vlog that I got some footage with him, and he was just so sweet, and he was talking about how he didn't know that Midsummer was a thing, and he was just like, it was amazing and all of that, and he was just super nice. Please check him out if you do not know about him. He's constantly putting out videos about his favorite horror films and his favorite horror comics, and just talking nonstop about horror, which is amazing. And we need more Black people talking about that and being forefront within this space. And so he was one of the first people who was really doing a lot of that. So I am so excited, and I'm so happy to have these. These are like the favorite thing that I bought yesterday, and it came free with your purchase of having something. Like, you didn't need to pay extra to meet him or talk to him or anything like that. And again, it was just amazing to have that opportunity entirely. That is it for today, y'all. I really had an amazing time at Midsummer this year. Regardless of all of the things that I said before and the conversations and the thoughts that I had, I think that that's something that I have, period. It's just being at somewhere like Midsummer where the whole thing is just concentrated Halloween. It was very clear having those things, but I still had, of course, an amazing time, and it was fantastic to still see so many people out there, so many cosplays that were so original and creative. I mean, every year I think that seeing the cosplays are some of the best things, because people do that. They're just like, okay, it's like Comic-Con for Halloween and horror. I love that, and it was just so much fun to experience it again. I, of course, will be there next year. I really don't know if I'm going to do the one day or if I'm going to try for a whole weekend. Hopefully, it's in the budget for a whole weekend, and I will really get to see a lot more that they provide during Midsummer, aside from all the vendors. I think that'll be really fun for me. This year, it was probably the most packed I've ever seen, though. I will say that, and my cousin was even saying when we walked in, she was like, it's far more people than it was last year, and I was like, yeah, it is. And I don't think that that's a mistake. I think a lot more people are, of course, getting into Halloween. People need some joy. So I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. I hope you enjoyed my haul, and I will see you on the next one. I'm really excited to get into the crafts. That'll be coming soon from Halloween for me. I'm still going through my collection, and by the end of this month, we will start decorating. So expect in September, decorating videos are coming. Subscribe down below, though, if you're interested into any of that. And please like today's video if you liked it. I will see you in the next one. Bye.